Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 4. We'll present the grammar writing discourse material which is about the genre of explanation and connectives. Before starting, let me introduce the member of this group. The first is myself, Anjani Wardatul Azza Zahra. Next is Ismi Nadia, Syahra Auralia, Kasilda Mubarak, and the last one is Rina Amelia. Well, we continue for the first part of the presentation will be delivered by Ismi.
Here I'm going to explain about the genre of explaining. The genre of explaining can be considered as a form of nonfiction writing or discourse. It serves the purpose of providing information and understanding about various subjects like phenomenon or concept. Here, an explanation text gives you information about a subject that you are interested in and would like to know more about. So we move to the purpose of explanation text. The purpose of an explanation text is to clarify the mechanism and reasons behind phenomena or actions in the world. It focuses on providing understanding of how and why things occur, rather than just describing. An explanation text is contribute to building and preserving knowledge, particularly in technical and scientific fields where clarify and accuracy are essential.
Okay, thank you, Ismi. And the next part will be delivered by me, which is about types of explanation text. There are two types of explanation text. The first is explaining how, which is explaining or describing a process or mechanism of the happening of something. Explain it in the detail from each of steps. The second is explaining why, explaining the reason or cause of something happening, about what are the factors that support the action or phenomenon. On this slide, there are examples of two types of text that have been explained previously. The first, on explaining how, we use the example of how the hearts work. In short, the heart is like pump that constantly pump blood in the body, and blood is like water that's swimming around in our body. The heart sends this water around the body to keep us healthy and strong. In this text, there are verbs such as pump, picks, and also receive. In the second example, explaining why, we use the example of why do you need school? In the text, that a reason that school is important because we can become skilled and as well as knowledgeable so that we can have hope for a bright future. So we can conclude that the explaining how is steps of action or something happened, and explaining why is the reason or factor of phenomenon or action happening. Maybe that's enough about the types of explanation text. The next part will be delivered by Casilda.
For structure of explanation, there are two structures. First structure, 1. Title. 2. General statement, introducing or identifying the phenomenon series of sequence paragraphs. 3. Concluding paragraph. 4. Label diagrams and flow charts. Second structure, 1 usually starts with a statement that introduces the subject or topic to the reader. 2. There comes a series of steps that explain how things happen or the reasons why. 3. These steps continue until the question has been answered or the explanation is complete.
Thank you, Casilda, for your explanation. Next will be delivered by Shahla Auralia.
So the first language features is use of present tense. This is refers to actions that happening right now. For the example, the cat sits on a mat. And the second is use of complex noun. A noun phrase that includes more than one word. For the example, the swimming pool is crowded. The third is use of abstract noun, that words for a thing that are not physical objects but ideas or feeling, like her happiness was evident. And then the fourth is use of pronouns for words are already introduced, for like replacing nouns with pronouns like he, she, it after they are met. Their first mention. For the example, Sarah found her keys and she was relieved. The fifth is the subject is not human. The main focus of the sentences is not a human entity. For the example, the earth orbits the sun. And then the sixth is clear subject and verb agreement. Inserting the subject and verb in a sentence match in a number, like the example, the dog barks. And then the seven is use of action verbs to explain cause. Verbs that show why something happens. For the example, the rain caused the flood. And then the eight is use of adverbial of time and place, words that tell us when or when something happens. For the example, he will arrive soon, that's for time, and then the store is located downtown, that's for the place. And then the nine is use of connectives, words that link sentences of part of sentences. For the example, I wanted to go out, but it was raining. And then the tenth is use of passive voice and nominalization. Sentences where the action is emphasized over the doer, turning verbs into noun. For the example, the game was won by the team, that is passive, and victory comes from overcoming obstacles, that is nominalization. And then the 11th is use of time conjunctions, words that describe the timing of an action. For the example, she finished her work before dinner. And then 12 is use technical terms of word or word chains about subject. And then using specialized vocabulary related to the specific field. For the example, the photosynthesis process is essential for plants. That's all.
Thank you, Shahla. And the next part will be delivered by Casilda.
So, what are sentence connectives? Connectives are words or phrases that link sentences or clauses together.
And for the last part will be delivered by Rina Amelia.
Types of connectives. 1. Adding connectives. They are used when you want to add ideas together that agree with each other or are about the same things, like and, also, as well as, moreover, and to. 2. Sequencing connectives. They are used when you want to list ideas in a certain order, like next, then, finally, meanwhile, and eventually. 3. Emphasizing connectives. They are used when you want to stress a point as being very important, like above all, in particular, especially, and significantly. 4. Comparing connectives. They are used when you want to compare ideas that are similar or the same as each other, like equally, in the same way, similarly, and likewise. 5. Cause and effect connectives. They are used when you want the second part of your sentence to help explain the first part. The second part happens as a result of the first, like because, so, and therefore. 6 is qualifying connectives. They are used when the first idea in your sentence relies on the second part happening, like however, although, except, if, as long as. 7 is illustrating connectives. They are used when you want to give an example to hack up the first part of your sentence, like for example, such as in the case of. And the last one is contrasting connectives. These are used when you have two ideas in your sentence that do not agree with each other, like instead of, otherwise, unlike, and alternatively.
So, that's the presentation of material about the genre of explanation and connectives from our group. We all realize that there will be many errors in our presentation this time, so please forgive and we will make it a lesson for the next time. Thank you for your attention. We are from Group 4. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.